back here for the second year in a row?
Well, it's great to be back, but this feels like the first time in Madison. We feel like we finally got a backdrop where we can showcase something on campus and I think get the best atmosphere we've had here. I mean, Camp Randall's a great place, but it swallowed up the game day crowd last year, and I think they were really hungover, and so we were told. And they were very fired up for the game. We just want to be able to show, I think for the first time ever, the audience in the morning how much spirit the place has and how great the backdrop can be, and get people to give a little bit of what they give inside the stadium behind the set. I think we're going to get that tomorrow.
Talk a little about Nebraska joining the Big Ten. I mean, how big of a game do you see this as for the program?
I don't know if there's been a bigger debut by a school in a conference in many, many years here. When Penn State joined the Big Ten, they played Minnesota. It was kind of a sleepy game in Happy Valley. Nobody around the country cared. Nebraska's Big Ten debut is huge for so many reasons. The matchup warrants it. I mean, it's been a long time since it's been a top 10 game here, as you know. Immediately you're going to find out who the team to beat is in the conference. So I think the nation is watching, and it's more than just the Nebraska fans and the Big Ten fans. It's everybody interested in this game, and there probably hasn't been a bigger debut by a team in the league that I can remember.
Does that make this game that much more important for the league, considering where Michigan and Ohio State are?
Well, I applaud the Big Ten for having kind of a sense of drama. I mean, you could have scheduled Nebraska against somebody else, but to put them here, Barry Alvarez's alma mater coming into Madison, a lot of hype, and then having Nebraska open against Ohio State at home next week. I mean, I don't think of the Big Ten necessarily having a flair for showmanship or drama, but the way they brought Nebraska in here is pretty impressive, and that's why I think there's so much attention in the first couple of weeks, starting tomorrow. What it means for the conference race, I don't know. I mean, both these teams might be really good, both might be overrated. We'll begin to find out. I think we haven't seen either team really tested so far, so there's an element of mystery going into this game. I think all of our people are kind of anxious to see how each team looks against good competition. Maybe they are the best team in their respective divisions. Maybe it is the first of two meetings, but we're a long way from knowing that right now.
Do you think the intrigue of this game has anything to do with the conference shakeup that we've seen so far, and maybe an apprehension for other schools and conferences? Plus, it is a big game.
You know, I don't think Nebraska's move to the Big Ten really is in the same basket as lots of other teams shuffling around. I mean, Nebraska to me has always been a good fit with this league. This wasn't done hastily. It was done over time. It was well thought out. There are people that embraced it. I don't think that Nebraska's move is like some of the other fear-based, money-based shakeups we've seen in the last couple months. And I think it's a good decision. It seems to be a really good fit, like Penn State was. So I wouldn't really put their move to the Big Ten in the same boat as some of the Big East teams bolting or some of the instability in the Big 12.
What do you think of Madison's game day atmosphere, especially at kickoff?
Well, in the stadium?
Yeah, even in
it's great. I mean, everybody asks me, is this the greatest place you've ever seen? I mean, we're lucky to get to go to a lot of great places. I think that the Camp Randall spirit is great. I've said this before. I think the Wisconsin student section is as good as anywhere. As long as they don't throw stuff at people and just support their team. Jump around is something that even if I'm not in the stadium at the end of the third quarter, if I'm out in the bus watching a different game, we'll stop and go inside just to watch it. And it's always a lot of fun. And I don't think that it's the kind of situation where you can expect the crowd to scare Nebraska to death. I mean, their place is pretty intimidating. They've played in a lot of places where it's tough to play. So I wouldn't count on the crowd freaking them out, or that being a huge factor, frankly. But it's something to just sit back. It comes through loud and clear to the TV audience, and it's a hell of a lot of fun to be inside there in person.
Chris, it's early, but is your Heisman radar on? And do you have any thoughts of Russell Wilson? What he'd have to do to impress you and get on it if he isn't?
Well, I think you win the Heisman by performing well against good opponents and over time. I don't ever think that what happens in September is all that important, frankly. Cam Newton wasn't even on anybody's Heisman radar a year ago at this time, and over time Russell will show what he can do. He hasn't really surprised me yet. I mean, the stats have been phenomenal, but you sort of expected that given what he did at NC State and the way that he blended and the way that he's got weapons around him. And the quality of the competition's had a lot to do with that. I know there's guys in our room here, we're talking about it today, and they're a little bit skeptical still. They want to see him against a much better defense than what he's faced so far. A defensive line that's not going to be scared and bullied by Wisconsin's offensive line in the first couple series. I mean, Nebraska's defense has struggled a bit, but now they're healthier. It'll be by far the best team he's seen. But no, if he keeps playing like this and Wisconsin keeps winning games, he's going to be front and center in the race.
Can you say that conversely about Taylor Martinez?
Yeah, I think for Taylor, there was a lot of awareness of what he could do, and you kind of want to see growth in the passing game from him, and you still want to see it. And you're going to have to probably see it Saturday night here, because if he's not able to make plays downfield and stretch the defense and do what we've seen him do a few times, the Oklahoma State game last year comes to mind, and nobody expected that, and he exploded through the air. If he has that kind of a game, Nebraska's very tough to stop, but I think sometimes people still view him as a sprinter in shoulder pads, who's not going to be a dual threat quarterback, not going to beat you with his arm. And it still remains to be seen if he can do that on a consistent basis.
You got a prediction?
I don't make predictions. You shouldn't. Nobody in Game Day should make a prediction. That's what the whole show builds to out here. I will say this, is that I think Mr. Corso gave this some long, hard thought. I would never give away what he's going to do. That's his department. He's got a whole skit that'll unfold here at 11 o'clock Central Time. But it'll be interesting because typically, you'd say would go with the home team in this situation, and he might take the crowd on some twists and turns before he gets to his ultimate destination. So.
What do you see as a key to tomorrow night's game?
Well, I think Nebraska being able to do more than run the ball. I think it's hard to know. Again, neither team's really been tested. There are skeptics on both sides. You don't know what Wisconsin can do because they really haven't been pushed. They haven't faced a team that's been able to stand in there for 4 quarters and handle their power game and make them make plays downfield. And conversely, Nebraska's been able to win games with a pretty subpar passing game so far. So I think what you want to see, is a nice 4-quarter test where some team has to kind of dig down deep, and we're going to learn a lot, I think, about both teams, which is what's fun about this, because there's still a lot of questions. They've come through October, in most cases dominant, but haven't really shown yet, I think, how good they are. Is one of them overrated? Are they both overrated? And that's a big question we're going to ask right at the top of the show tomorrow.
Away from the field, are you intrigued by the kind of the other aspects of this matchup? Alvarez connection in Nebraska, the 2 passionate fan bases, that kind of stuff. Have you had a chance to examine that?
Well, I know Barry's background. I know Barry very well. I know he's very proud of being a Nebraska graduate. I went to Colorado, so he's let me know that before. But that's a subplot that's, I think, it's huge in the Alvarez household. I think it's huge for Nebraska fans. I think it's very cool that Nebraska's opening here because of that Alvarez connection, just because it is. They are 2 great fan bases, and the fact that Nebraska will come here and they'll try to invade and they'll try to buy up Wisconsin tickets. I've seen that many times over the years. I remember a Notre Dame game in South Bend where Nebraska was the road team, and they bought up the tickets, and it was a lot of red in the house that Rockne built. And Wisconsin fans, I don't think, would sell out the tickets the way Notre Dame fans did, but it's always interesting to see the Cornhusker Nation kind of march into town and try to take over, and I would expect plenty of Nebraska fans at this set here tomorrow.